welcome to another edition of Joe Apfelbaum Talks with his most amazing, most incredible, most unbelievable, most loving, most giving, most wonderful LinkedIn connections. And today we have Jeff Goldberg. Jeff, welcome to the program.
I'm so excited. My favorite person in the world other than me and my dog and my
I
kids. Other than that, it's you, Joe Apfelbaum.
was telling somebody today, I said, there's a guy who's a sales trainer who referred me to a company called MJH, and I trained hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of their people. And I'm so grateful that he introduced me. He's such a giver, and I've introduced him to my clients, and he's introduced me to his clients, and we have such a great relationship. And it came through LinkedIn. And he's like, wow, that's unbelievable. LinkedIn works. LinkedIn
It
really
does.
works. But here's
And
what's
can I tell you
missing.
why I refer you, Joe?
Why?
Because you are what I call eminently referable. And here's what I mean by that. I work with salespeople of all types, and some are referable and some are not. But I know for a fact, I would bet my middle child's life that if I introduce you to a prospect or a client that I'm working with, that they're going to get back to me and go, holy guacamole, thank you so much for introducing me to Joe Applebaum, because I know you're going to be professional and respectful and you're going to add tons of value. That's why you're just easily referable.
Thank you so much for saying that. That means the world to me. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that, and I feel the same way about you. I feel like whenever I introduce you to someone, everybody thanks me for the introduction that I make.
And that's how
So
it should be in networking.
yeah,
Most people, in my experience, they network like this. Hey, Joe, I'm going to make an introduction for you. Do me a favor. Don't make me look bad. I want the opposite direction. It's not enough that you don't make me look bad. You better make me look good. If I introduce someone, I expect a call or an email or a text from that person saying, thank you so much for that introduction. That guy was great. Whether they use you or not is up to you and them. But look, here's the thing that we're doing when we're not, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here, Joe. When we're networking, we're using our own social capital. If you introduce me to somebody, you're taking the risk on a relationship that you've already got to introduce me, and I could blow that relationship for you. So that's why I never am concerned when I introduce Joe Applebaum.
I love that. I love that. And you have been training people on how to use how to do sales. That's like your thing. How to close deals, how to get deals, how to do all that stuff. And that's something that a lot of people on LinkedIn are really missing. They're missing that sales component. Could you talk about your expertise when it comes to training sales professionals, coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, and how to be better at sales?
Yeah, well, first I want to make one fine point. So you said I'm training people on how to close deals. You're right. At the end of the day, that is what it's all about. How do we enroll more clients naturally, organically, in a way that's non-pushy? But the fact is, I get calls all the time from individuals and organizations saying exactly that. Can you teach me how to close, or can you come teach my team how to close? And my answer is always the same. I'd be happy to do that. What are we going to do with the other 7 hours and 55 minutes of the day? Because closing, asking a question, the answer to which is yes, I want to do business with you, or no, I don't want to do business with you, is a 5 minute conversation. What people really mean, and they don't know it, is teach me how to sell. And that's what I do, especially the last 6 months or so, where my focus has been on what I call the accidental seller. And you started to mention it. Coaches are my favorite group right now, but coaches, solopreneurs, consultants, anybody, Joe, who did not go into business to sell. So I'm a professional salesperson for 50 years. All I've ever done is sell and train, but I sell for a living. But if you're, for example, I don't know, a relationship coach, and you help people get into better relationships, or if they're in a relationship, make that better. You didn't become a relationship coach to sell. Became a relationship coach because you want to help people have better lives, or a weight loss coach, or any kind of coach. But typically, I find that those type of people, what I call the accidental seller, they don't like selling. They think you have to be pushy, sleazy, manipulative. You have to talk people into things. You have to convince or persuade. And they hate asking for money. So I've really been focused on what I call the Sales Confidence Lab, which is a 12-week live program where I work with these individuals on both the mindset and the skill sets of how to close more business, but really how to sell. How do you engage somebody in a conversation? How do you prospect effectively to find people to speak to? And how do you take them from, hi, it's nice to meet you, to either, yes, I want to do business with you, or no, I don't want to do business with you, in a way that's not pushy and not salesy, that feels natural to both the prospect and to the seller. And I think you can probably tell, I'm really psyched about it, because for the last slightly over 20 years, I've been working with professional sales organizations. And you work with them too. That, you walk in and they've got their arms crossed. What does this guy know that I didn't forget 10 years ago? But this group of people, and I've only run the lab once now, we're going to run it again in January for the second time, was so receptive. So it was almost like they ate everything up with a spoon, because a fork would have let stuff slip through. It was just amazing. And here was the surprising thing to me, Joe. And I've been doing this a long time, just like you have. I'm rarely surprised anymore. The results that were reported to me and the testimonials I got exceeded my expectations 20 times fold, maybe 100 times. Look, I'm a confident guy. I expected things to go very well, but I'm blown away by how it worked out. And I'm really proud of the Sales Confidence Lab.
So tell me more, like give me an example of a person that you helped in the Sales Confident Lab and tell me what they got out of it.
So I'll give you an example. There's a really attractive young lady named Nikki. She's a mindset coach. She's an NLP practitioner, and she helps people quiet the noise in their heads and be more focused and be more productive. And she's really amazing at what she does. But what was happening was she wasn't closing enough business. It turned out, and I only discovered this in the lab, that the way she was talking to people and having sales conversations was through meeting people, through networking and getting together with them in what the group I'm in call an opportunity call, or a one-on-one, which is where you get to know the people you're networking with to try to develop relationships so they'll refer you. And I was like, Nikki, that you can't do that. That's misleading. And I know you're not doing it on purpose. So we stopped her from doing that. She also was finding that she felt inauthentic when she was selling, when she was having the sales conversation, and she just wasn't closing enough business. So let's see, was it week 3? By week 3, yes, she wrote to me, and I have her testimonial somewhere, that she already feels better about selling, that she's not. She didn't say misleading, and I don't want to give her the impression that, in case anybody knows Nikki, she wasn't trying to mislead people, but she was being very direct with people and explaining why she wanted to get together with them. She was asking the right questions, which is the key to selling. What most people think, Joe, is it's about presenting and closing. But I taught her how to ask the right questions. And by week 3, she said she already felt better, was having better conversations, and was closing more business. And that's out of a 12-week program. Or here's another guy, Hi, who I know. Actually, Hi. He's does custom software. Hi, brilliant guy, great company, helps people create processes and custom software that really improve productivity. But he also was having conversations that didn't feel authentic to him. And after the 4th session, again, I've got a testimonial from him. It's actually posted on my site. He said, after just 4 weeks, and I'm only a third of the way through the program, my closing ratio has increased by 25%. In
Wow.
4 weeks. And that blew me away. First of all, I didn't expect a closing ratio to increase by that much, even at the end of the program, but after 4 weeks. So that's the kind of stuff that's happening in the lab. And I'm pretty damn excited about it.
So in terms of like the people that are coming, obviously they're getting results from it. Does it focus mostly on mindset, or are there like practical things you're teaching people that are not mindset, but it's like tactics?
Yeah, so I don't know percentages that well, but I'd say at least 90% of the skills, the tools, the techniques, and the tactics. The entire first session, which is 2 hours, by the way, is all about mindset. Because if you have what I call head trash, and for those who don't know, head trash are the little thoughts that we have inside our head with the little voice that's always talking to us. And if you don't know what voice I'm talking about, it's the voice that just said, "What voice is Jeff talking about?" You know the one. We all have stuff in our head that prevents us from selling well, or prevents us from doing anything. And we typically hear things like, "Oh, you're so fat," or "You're so stupid," or not you. I'm so fat. I'm so stupid. I'm so this. Often it's negative, and we have often negative head trash about selling. So this is the perfect time of year for this. So Thursday is Thanksgiving. I have been for 2 weeks now getting calls from terrified salespeople, and the call sounds like this every single time. Jeff, what am I going to do? And my question is always, what do you mean, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Thanksgiving's almost here. And I'm like, well, I guess you're going to probably eat some turkey and some, some stuffing with your family. They go, no, no. What am I going to do about selling? Because everybody knows that once Thanksgiving comes, you can't sell until the end of the year. Now, that sounds reasonable because people are busy at the end of the year and blah, 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 blah. And maybe their experience was they had a hard time selling in the past, but it's really head trash. I promise you, you can close business between Thanksgiving and the end of the year. You can close business the week of Christmas to the end of the year. In fact, I do it every single year just so I can talk to audiences and say, I close business the week between Christmas and New Year's. What do you mean you can't? So that first session is all about how do we get rid of all the head trash that stops us from interacting with people in a genuine way? Because I don't teach persuasion or talking people into things. In the lab, what I teach is how do you have a great conversation or series of conversations that end up with the other person choosing to do business with you. So it's really just about how do you have great conversations. So that was a long answer to one entire session is all mindset, and the rest of them are all the skills, the tools, the techniques. Plus, and I don't know about you, Joe, but I learn a lot from the people who engage with me, who work with me. Um, each session is 2 hours long. The first hour at least is me training, giving real ideas. Here's how you do it. And then the second hour is Q&A where people can ask me anything about sales and um, role playing. Now, I know that when professional salespeople hear, all right, we're going to role play now, they all groan because, salespeople make fun of each other and nobody wants to get teased and stuff like that. But the attendees of the last Sales Confidence Lab love the role playing because we created it as a safe space. Nobody's there to make fun of anybody. We're all there to support each other. And you know that I could teach you the best stuff in the world, but unless you actually practice it, it's like going to the gym and lifting a weight once and saying, okay, I'm ripped. That's not the way it works. So that worked really well. Not only the training, but the coaching and the role playing. And there's one other thing that I'd love to say I was brilliant in doing this, except I do this in my coaching practice, accountability. My belief is that anybody who sells, a professional salesperson, an accidental salesperson, we all need an accountability partner because most of us we'd rather break our arm than break our word to somebody else. Like I'd rather break my arm than break a promise to you, Joe. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. But I'll break a promise to me, even though I'm a pretty disciplined guy. Well, having an accountability partner during this 12 weeks, again, the people said that was fantastic. And we checked in once a week and we made sure we were doing the homework and we role played with each other. So it really just exceeded my expectations. I'm psyched.
Wow. So if someone is like, you know what? I really need to have more sales confidence. I really need to have better conversations. I really need to get rid of my head trash, or at least identify what my head trash is. Is this the type of class that they should take for 12 weeks with you? Like, what would you say to somebody who's like, you know what, I really need this, but maybe I don't really have the time to do this because, 2 hours a week for 12 weeks is a considerable investment of time for somebody to make. When is the next event happening?
It starts January 6th and it's every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern for 12 weeks.
Wow. So if somebody's like, oh, I don't really have the time to do it. I want to have the skill, but I don't have the time. What would you say to them?
Two things. The first one is 12 weeks times 2 hours. That's 24 hours. That's one day out of your life, one day out of 365 to increase your sales. Is that a worthwhile investment or no? I'm going to say yes. The other thing is I record every session and all the sessions, all the recordings go into what we call the Sales Confidence Lab community. And everybody who's in the Confidence Lab has access to the community. So if they can't stay the entire 2 hours, they can always go back and catch up. If they forgot something, they can always rewatch them. And I keep saying you'll have access to these recordings for your lifetime. I'm actually lying there. They'll have access to the recordings for my lifetime. I'm not going to keep paying for the hosting after I'm dead, but hopefully that's going to be a long time. So if somebody can't make it to all the sessions or has to leave early, they've still got access to everything that's going on. Plus, they're going to get together with their accountability partner during the week. So that's going to help too.
Okay, great. Yeah, you're definitely going to live a long time.
I keep telling my kids I'm going to live till I'm 120, which that gives me another 50 years. And that's only because I started my family late. And I told them, I want to watch you get married and grow up and have grandkids someday.
That's so nice. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
What if somebody comes to you and is like, you know what? I want to have more sales and I'm willing to invest the 24 hours, but this sounds like a really expensive program. What would you tell them?
Well, expensive is relative, of course. I don't think it's expensive at all. In fact, based on the fact for what I charge for private coaching per hour, you would the entire 24 hours is what you would pay me for three. The other thing is I'm offering a 30-day money back guarantee. And that means she'll have had four sessions. And if any time during that first four sessions you decide, you know what, really not for me, for whatever reason. I don't like Jeff. I don't like Jewish guys. I don't like guys with big noses or glasses. I thought I could do this. I don't want to. Send me an email at jeff@salesconfidencelab.com. Say, Jeff, I want my money back. Boom, money goes back. I can't do that for the entire 90 days, but I promise you, within 30 days, people are going to know whether this is working for them or not. And I can tell you this, nobody asked for their money back in the first one.
Wow, that's incredible. So you give a money back guarantee. It's only 24 hours of their time. And you've already had clients that have said it changed the game for them, increased close rate by 25%. If somebody's like thinking to themselves, well, how do I know this is going to work for me? Like, yes, it works for those people. How do I know it's going to work for me? Do you have experience with me in what I'm doing? Maybe they're a health coach. Maybe they're an outsourced CFO. Maybe they're someone who is in real estate, or maybe they're a financial advisor, or someone in pharmaceutical advertising sales or something. I don't know. Like how do they know it's going to work for them?
Yeah. So it's interesting in your question, you not only mentioned accidental salespeople, but also professional salespeople. And I had two professional salespeople, even though I specifically designed this for non-professional salespeople. I had one guy who's been in sales for 40 years and a woman who's been in sales for 30 years. And both of them said, oh my God, I thought I knew everything there was about sales, but I figured I'd give this a try. And I learned a lot. So even if you're in professional sales, this is something that can work for really well for you, either to refresh your memory or teach you some new things that maybe you just don't know. But for the person who thinks it's not going to work for them, I can't promise anything. All I can do is I can tell people I'm going to do my very best to make sure that you get way more than you've put into this. And I've trained tens of thousands of salespeople, professional and non-professional, all over the world. I don't remember ever hearing from anybody saying, yeah, that stuff you taught me, it didn't work. And that's why I'm happy to give that 30-day money back guarantee. But the things I'm teaching, Joe, are based on 50 years of experience. This is not something where I sat down here at my desk and I went, let me see what I can come up with in a program that will sell. All I'm teaching is the things that have worked for me for 50 years and the things that are working for tens of thousands of salespeople in a vast array of industries all over the world. So can I guarantee that it's going to work for them? Nope, I don't make promises I'm not 100% sure I can't keep, but I know it's worked for just about everybody else. Otherwise, I'm sure I'd be hearing from people going, Jeff, you ripped me off, or Jeff, this wasn't right for me. But again, if that happens during the first 30 days, I'll give you your money back. And by the way, I'm not here to argue with anybody. You want your money back? I'm sending it on with my blessing.
Okay, so somebody says, okay, you know what? I have the time, I have the money, I believe it's going to work for me. What are some other hesitations you're hearing from people that might stop them from signing up?
Yeah, the only other one that I've heard is, I'm not a professional salesperson and I don't want to role play in front of other people. And I don't know if I can do all this stuff. And I don't know. It's all about I don't know. It's that fear of the unknown. And here's my take. I always take it like if you remember cartoons, you're younger than me, Joe, but when I was a kid, there's always cartoons. And on one person's shoulder, there was a devil, and on the other one person's shoulder was an angel, and they'd both be whispering stuff. So my suggestion, and I learned this from a self-improvement program I took years ago, you turn to the devil that's telling you not to do something and say, oh, thank you for sharing. I'm going to give this a try anyways. I've jumped out of an airplane twice. Same thing. It's like, whoa, should I really be doing this? I'm up here. It's going to go. And you just take the leap. So if somebody's considering it, they think it might not work for them, my coaching is give it a try. What do you have to lose? Let's say they come to the first session and they're like, ugh, this guy's full of crap. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't like him for whatever reason. I don't think there's anything he can teach me. Ask for your money back and you get it back. I don't know how much safer to make it.
Wow.
The only other thing I can tell people is they're going to have a good time because you know me a long time, Joe. I'm a stand-up comedian on the side because I don't get enough attention from people during the week. I need more attention on the weekends and the evenings. I promise everybody's going to have a good time and they're all going to walk away empowered and more confident because confidence, there's a reason I called it the Sales Confidence Lab. The confidence comes from knowing what to say, what to do, in what order. like I'm going to bet that for many of the people who are hesitant, and maybe some who aren't, they're thinking, you know what, I've been selling a long time. I may not be great at it, but I kind of wing it, and sometimes it works out. Well, almost everything works out sometimes. What you're looking to do is, how do I increase the likelihood of people choosing to do business with me? And you do that by having better conversations. And that's what I'm going to have. That's what I teach people in the Sales Confidence Lab. How do you have better conversations without being pushy, without being salesy, without feeling icky? I'm looking to take the ick out of sales for people who think sales is icky.
Yeah. I remember you once told me we did some coaching together, and you once told me something that I use all the time, which is when you're speaking to a prospect and you both realize that it's the right program for them. You taught me something that I now use and I've been using all the time, which is to tell them that the smart thing to do, and you say, make sure to use these words. In my professional opinion, the smart thing to do would be for you to get started right now. And then you basically just help them get started. And I can't even tell you how many deals I closed because of that. Because in the past, what I would usually do would be like, well, let me know if you want it. I'll see you later. And
Yeah,
then
and
the
I'm
deal
glad
wouldn't
you mentioned
close.
that, Joe. I'm glad you mentioned that because what you're talking about are word choices, the choices of words that you use. And I'm very big on that. So in the lab and in my private coaching too, I listen to every word that people say and I'll pick it apart. And sometimes one word can be the difference between closing a deal and not closing a deal, helping somebody become your client and having them walk away. And you go, huh, they really need me. Why aren't they going? I don't understand. It's because we didn't say the right things that made them feel safe, that made them feel comfortable, and we may not have invited them. People need to be invited. Look, the goal of every sales process is, how do I get to the end and have the other person, the prospect, say, sounds good, sign me up. Yes, I need EVAI, which of course everybody does. Yes, I need to be in Jeff's Sales Confidence Lab. That's the goal, except that's not the way the brain works. See, part of brain science is that when we're making a buying decision, and by the way, this isn't good or bad, it's not right or wrong, it's just the way the brain works. But when we're making a buying decision, the brain automatically thinks of all the negative stuff first. Well, what if I sign up for Jeff Sales Confidence Lab and I don't get anything out of it and I pass the 30 days and now I can't get my money back and I've wasted my money? What if? We do this, by the way, to protect ourselves from making a bad decision. So we, as salespeople, whether again we're professional salespeople or accidental sellers, have to make people feel comfortable to make a good decision. And there are techniques I teach to do that, including choosing the right words. And there are some very bad words that we should never use. Here, let's give something away. How's that? These are called red flag words. So a word that I'll never use with a prospect is contract. I do have a contract that people sign, but I'm never going to call it a contract. Why? Because we've all been taught all our lives, don't sign any contracts without reading them or probably showing them to a lawyer. And I don't use the word signature either, but nobody ever told you don't approve the paperwork. It's the same thing. My contract is paperwork. It's making better choices so that the people that you're selling to, if you're a coach or a solopreneur or something like that, feel comfortable to do business with you. And those are the types of things that I'm sharing in the lab.
Safety is a really important thing. I just had a conversation with someone today, and the guy's like, I'm here to do a demo of EVAI, and the guy was already a client of EVAI, but I clearly felt that something was wrong. So I stopped sharing my screen for a second, and he's like, I want to leave. I want to leave. I don't want to be here. And I was like, well, you clearly feel unsafe right now. He's like, yeah, I don't like that it's like a 2-on-1 and you're trying to sell me stuff. I didn't come here to be sold. I came here to learn about what I already bought. I was like, okay, so share your screen. He's like, I'm not sharing my screen till you leave. And I was like, okay, all right, you're in good hands with my team. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And I left. And when I left, he told my team that he felt very unsafe with me because he feels like I'm a fast-talking salesperson that is going to fire hose him with information and then pull a bunch of money out of him. And my sales team told him that's not what Joe does. He builds relationships with people and gets to know them. And he's like, yeah, but that's not how I feel. And I was like, wow. He ended up canceling his subscription of EVAI, and he ended up just saying he doesn't want to do business with us, which was fine because, that he doesn't really have a business and he's not really our most ideal customer. But also, if somebody has all those self-limiting beliefs about other people like that, they're not going to be able to network properly and build relationships, so they're not going to be successful anyway doing the things that we teach them to do. But, the crazy thing about it is I always wonder, like, what could I have done to improve? And if I don't take classes like the ones that you teach, there's no way for me to ever know what I can do to improve. Like I always say, you have to go to classes, you have to go to courses, and you have to take your conversations to the next level, because the conversations are going to dictate whether or not you're going to close a deal. Do you agree with that?
100%. And here's something I would say, Joe. First of all, you are a fast talking person and you do have a fire hose approach. And when we first met, we both noticed that about each other. That's the way we do. And I could see where somebody would think on the opposite end, oh, Joe's a fast talking, slick talking salesperson just trying to get over on me. I know you. I don't know how many years now. I know that's not who you are. I know you come with a huge heart and huge caring about every individual. That's just who you are, as opposed to me, who is a little less loving of everybody in the world. But he's just not right for you. He had this idea in his head. He had head trash about who Joe Apfelbaum is. And I think the smartest thing you could do was to let him go.
Yeah,
See,
and
here's the thing.
I left
I
right
don't need,
away, and
I'm
I
sorry, go
had
ahead.
no. I would say I left right away, and I had a call with somebody else that I was chatting with on WhatsApp, and we had the most amazing call. And she's a $2,000 potential for me.
Yeah, look, I know you personally as well as professionally. I know that you're a loving, caring, wonderful human being who adores his children and the world and just wants to help. And I know that this guy doesn't get it. Here's my thing. I don't need everybody to get me. I don't need everybody to love me. In fact, years ago, I don't know, probably 6, 7 years ago, my coach, who came to me and said, you're posting a lot of political stuff on Facebook and you're going to turn off half the country. And I don't, doesn't matter where people are, one side or the other. That's none of my business, but you're turning off half the country. And I said, you know what? This is the way I feel. And I don't need everybody in the country to love me because if half the people still love me, I only need a few of them to do business with me. So, this guy, as far as I'm concerned, it's his loss. Nobody gets everybody. And if this guy had some misconception about who you are, and clearly it's a misconception because I know you're not there to jam money, jam products or services down people's throats. You're the opposite of that. But that's his impression.
How do you
You know,
how does somebody sign up to your program? If somebody's ready to sign up now and they want to sign up to the confidence program, how do they do that?
well, can I share my screen?
Yeah, please.
Let's see. I hope I'm sharing the right thing.
I hope you're sharing the right thing too.
Here it is. There we go. They can use that. Actually, it's the wrong one. All right. This should do it too, though. This is they can go to this QR code and that'll take them to a landing page that has a ton more information. They'll get some testimonials on there, some videos. The agenda for each week is on there. And if they do go to register, if they use the code Joe, JOE50, Joe50, they'll get $50 off up until the date that we start, which is actually the 50 off expires January 5th, but anytime between now and then, they can just go to that website, that landing page, and they'll get more information and they can sign up. Also, people can email me at jeff@jgsalespro.com or jeff@salesconfidencelab.com. I'd be happy if somebody says, hey, Jeff, you know what? It's not a lot of money, but I would rather have a conversation first. Go in, my Calendly link is in there. Or they can just reach out to me via email. Happy to get on a quick call, answer any questions.
Amazing.
I only want people in there who really feel it's right for them and who are going to really play full out.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being here. Thanks for explaining how the program works. I think it's very clear that if somebody really wants to improve their sales conversations, have more sales confidence, get rid of their head trash, and close more deals, and play the game of selling with confidence and be able to sell more, make more money, have a bigger impact, then the right choice for them, the smart thing for them to do, is to contact Jeff Goldberg and get the sales confidence program that's coming up soon. So thank you for watching this. If you guys found this helpful, please write helpful in the chat. Let us know that you enjoyed this. Let us know what tips you got from this class that we just did together, from this amazing interview. And forward this to a friend. Tag a few salespeople that you think might benefit, or tag a few accidental salespeople like coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, people that you know need more clients that can listen to this interview, hear what Jeff's about, and maybe have a conversation with him that can change their life. Thank you very much, Jeff. Thanks for being a friend. Thanks for being amazing.
Thanks, Joe. You're the
Thanks for
best.
making a difference. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everyone.